Welcome back to USC Coliseum Chronicles Live here on the Voice of College Football. I am Terrence Holton, joined by Casey Kasliner. And today, we're preparing 5 days away from the Illinois football game. Excuse me, I lost all my words there. That's going to be the biggest game of the year. However, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to get into that game, all the implications, but really quickly.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
All right. Well, Casey, as I alluded to just a second ago, Illinois this upcoming Saturday, 9 a.m. We're going to get into that in a second. Let's talk Michigan State a little bit. And I want to preface this really quickly because I know you haven't spoken yet, because I'm going to preface this really quickly. I texted you before the Michigan State game. On our show this week, I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to be positive of what I say about the team. There are some things I'll point out, some errors, but I will be more positive.
You know what? That's great. The viewers, I think, will be happy. And I think, like, to your point, USC's 4-0. Like, it's a positive thing. Did we expect them to be 4-0 at this point? Yeah, we did. But they're 4-0, and they've won every game, I'll say somewhat convincingly on average. Like the Purdue game, there was a late push for them to win, and against Michigan State, a late push for them to win. Is that sustainable? Not necessarily, but they're 4-0. So that's where it is.
Yeah, so let's talk about that Michigan State game a little bit. Let's talk about the positives first, and then there's really only two negatives I have from the Michigan State game, which have been a constant throughout the season. But let's talk about the positives first. What did you like from that game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, without Jacoby Lane, because that was kind of a little bit of a concern for me, honestly. For anybody, I feel like not having such a dynamic receiver in Jacoby Lane going into the game and finding out last second sort of that he wasn't playing was a concern. But the receivers adapted really well, I thought. Mekhi Lemon, 127 yards receiving. He had a rushing touchdown and a 40-yard receiving touchdown. He had a great game showing that even without Jacoby, he can still bounce off of, the offense. Walker Lyons had a late touchdown. That was clutch. I really liked the run game as well. 157 yards, 9 yards a carry for Wayman Jordan, and 2 rushing touchdowns for Jaden Mayava. The offense, the point I'm trying to make is the offense looked really, really good. The D-line looked really, really good. Only 2 sacks. It's not, I say only. That's less than they normally have had this year, but 7 tackles for loss. I thought, the front 7 played well and the offense in general.
Yeah, to your point, I'll just talk a little bit specifically about what I liked within that, because you mentioned a lot of it. 257 combined yards from Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders. They ran the ball 40 times in this game, including 2 Mekhi Lemon runs and some Jaden Mayava. I love that. It's Big Ten football. You're establishing the run so you can air it out. It has taken Lincoln Riley, Grant's only been a year, but he has had these talented running backs, and I think he's finally actually utilizing them, especially when you have such a great backfield in both Jordan and Sanders. I don't think we've seen a duo this talented at USC. Definitely not since I've been here, which has been 4 years. It's been a while now.
Yeah, it's a valid point, because I feel like even last year with Woody Marks and Quentin Joyner, even if they were as talented as now, they weren't getting the looks that they deserved, so it didn't really matter. It's crazy to me that it took Lincoln Riley this long to be like, okay, maybe Jaden Mayava or Miller Moss, whoever it should be, shouldn't throw the ball 50 times. Mayava only threw the ball 26 times. He was 20 of 26. That's super efficient. He had a 97.3 QBR. That's very, very good. Nearly perfect. And he, at the end of the day, just looked like kind of like Caleb Williams. I'm going to just be honest. He had a couple plays where he was rolling out, being dicey a little bit and taking risks, but still being calculated. Mm-hmm. And you brought up the rushing. I mean, you have a quarterback that can rush as well. So it's just, overall, I can't really critique the offense at all. I mean, obviously, they were in a tough spot because they were kicking off to start the second half, and then they fumble, I believe, on their first possession. DJ Jordan. And so they didn't have the ball for a long time, being able to operate in the red zone. But with that being said, I felt like whenever they had the ball, like they punted, I think they only punted once, and it was at the end of the game in garbage time.
This team has not punted a lot. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, no one really knows who Sam Johnson is because he's barely punted.
It's exactly what you want.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to last year where you have the best punter in the country, but you're punting a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just think the offense looks fantastic. I don't really have any critiques going from that because they just look phenomenal. We had questions about the O-line. I do think that this Illinois will be a great test for both Michigan, Notre Dame, and Oregon going forward. They're not better than those three, in my opinion. But I do think this will be obviously the best test that offensive line has faced. They have so far completely blown my expectations out of the water. I don't know about you. I was really concerned about this offensive line going into the year, a little bit of a lack of experience, all sorts of that stuff. But they have looked great. They really have. No one is really getting to Jaden Maiava.
I agree, but I also think they haven't really faced an elite pass rush yet. They're going to at some point soon, whether it be Oregon. Notre Dame pass rush hasn't been as good as normal, but it's still.
We can talk about that in a couple of weeks.
It's still Notre Dame, though. That's the thing. This is a young offensive line for USC, especially if you subtract Elijah Page, who I don't think is severely injured. He walked out of the tunnel at halftime.
Let us know, because you are going to practice later today. Let me know what is the word with him.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'll know today because people asked yesterday. I was at practice yesterday, too, and Lincoln said it's likely going to be on the availability report, which comes out or tomorrow.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, we're also going to find out about Jacoby and other updates.
He was practicing yesterday. He was. And Alex Graham's another one, too. We haven't really been able to see him a whole lot. And, we'll talk about the secondary in a minute, but I think they need him a lot. Yeah. Let's talk a little more positives. On the defensive side, that defensive line is still fantastic. And really, they looked phenomenal on every aspect. It's both on the running game side and on that pass rush side. There was one drive where they were giving up about 8 yards a carry that was really frustrating in the mid-third quarter when Michigan State kind of made that, or I guess late third quarter, when Michigan State kind of made that comeback. They could not really run the ball outside of that one drive, though, and that is what I like to see.
Yeah, especially considering Michigan State's run game is really not all that good. I mean, they have Aiden Childs, who's a mobile quarterback, but USC got to him for 2 sacks. And at the end of the day, Braylon Shelby, a guy who is not typically listed as a starter on the depth chart, he's in the 2 deep, but he gets 1.5 sacks. That leads the team. Eric Gentry, 2 tackles for loss. Devin Tompkins, even.
Eric Gentry, we should talk about him specifically. He was him, and I'll say in a second, there's another guy who should be obvious in the backfield the entire night. It was crazy.
I'm sure.
Wait, guess the other guy who I was going to say? Yeah, obviously. He was phenomenal. He's exactly what you expect a 5-star pass rusher to be. He was getting into the backfield. There was literally, I was at the game, and I saw the clip of it later from Jason Benetti's call on the game. He was literally like, oh my God, it was like a video game how quickly he got to the backfield when he basically glitched through the line and got there before Aiden Childs handed the ball off. It was fantastic.
They won't give him a stat or a sack on the stat sheet, but it's basically a sack. He got to the backfield so quickly. I know exactly which play you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I think that's huge considering he didn't play the first game. And I feel like the key to the defensive line is the depth. Guys are going to get banged up. Guys are going to get tired. When you have a guy like Anthony Lucas, you want to have pieces around him. It's hard to sort of say who the best defensive lineman is on this team. I think Anthony Lucas.
So good.
Yeah. I think Anthony Lucas is the safe pick just because he's getting touted as a first-round pick right now. But
the most experience.
Excuse me. Sorry. But I feel like even Cameron Crawford.
New
name change, by the way. So
Yeah, Crawford's fantastic. I mean, true sophomore, he didn't redshirt last year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he did, right?
No, I don't think he did.
No, yeah. He's been fantastic. And I think having all these guys you can really sub in and out at that defensive end, that defensive tackle slot, it makes the pass rush so good. It's why USC is tied in the nation for leading in sacks. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I mean, they have, if I'm doing my math correctly, 16 sacks in 4 games.
Yes.
That is incredible. I mean, comparing from last year, there were games where they'd have 0 sacks the entire game.
And part of that, of course, we can attribute to both Gentry and Lucas missing time from injury.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it was a weird group. I mean, shout out Nate Clifton, but like at the end of the day, it wasn't deep at all. They had a decent front 4, but like outside of that,
this year.
Yeah, it's much changed. Should we move on to the negatives, or I mean, I do like talking about.
Let's talk briefly about just the 2 negatives because they are the constants, and I'll go first with it. The penalties. The penalties are really frustrating, and I think everyone can agree with us because yes, we're being negative towards this. The penalties are a glaring issue that keep hindering this team and keep putting teams who USC should be putting away back into the game. That Michigan State, I want to say it was the drive I'm misremembering, but I believe it's the drive where they did end up scoring, kind of putting them within 2 touchdowns, maybe even a touchdown. I know they got within a touchdown, where it was the pushed into the punter, or maybe it wasn't pushed into the punter, maybe just ran in. I don't know. But it was a drive chock full of penalties. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State had some penalties, but USC, it was more glaring on their side. They had 11 penalties for 82 yards. Like that's horrible. 82 yards, that's a whole drive of yards. Like they were giving, and it's not just these sort of 50-50 penalties. There's a lot of them that are very obviously in, Michigan State's favor in this instance, right? So that is one thing that needs to change. I think luckily that's something that I'm not going to say is an easy fix, but it's something that you can coach. Like you can coach a guy to not grab another player's jersey a certain way. You can coach against an offside. I mean, we might see some of that on the road. It's going to be loud in Illinois. It's a sellout game. It's a desperate Illinois team that still has CFP aspirations, even with the loss they had this past week, excuse me. So, that's one thing that I definitely agree about. And then I know exactly what you're going to say for the second one, and that's the secondary.
Yeah. Really quickly, though, so I can kind of put an emphasis on the penalties. USC ranks currently 128th in penalty yards, 339 in penalty yards, to be exact.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the difference when we get down the stretch of the season against the Notre Dames, Oregon's, Michigans. Those will really add up. They haven't really been burning them so far because you're playing Purdue, Michigan State, Georgia Southern, Missouri State. They're not burning you yet. If you don't fix this glaring issue, they will. And that, I don't want to say it's an easier fix than the secondary, but
I think it is.
Make your point though about the secondary.
Well, I mean, I think to your question there, I think fixing the secondary it's a depth issue. The problem with the secondary is they don't have depth. That's why Kamari Ramsey has to play at the nickel.
Yeah,
it sucks when you have injuries. Prophet Brown, Alex Graham. There's guys that are hurt. That happens, but it needs to be a next guy up, and that's just not happening right now. I mean, DJ Harvey. I would make the argument that DJ Harvey was supposed to be the biggest impact transfer on the defensive side of the ball, and he hasn't done anything. Bishop Fitzgerald, too, is so boom or bust. It's hard. I like the guy a lot, but it's really hard to see him go from a 2-interception game to missing coverages, missing assignments. Same could be said for DJ Harvey, except we haven't seen anything from him, and he's a guy that people are really high on. I mean, I know he was on San Jose State, and that's a different level of football fundamentally. But he had, I believe, 3 interceptions last year, a lot of tackles, he had tackles for loss. It's just
an 88.9, if I'm not mistaken, PFF grade as a corner.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. And
that's good.
It's hard to beat that. I will say, I like Christian Pierce a lot, and I like Kamari Ramsey. Obviously, I think Kamari Ramsey it's really hard to not like him.
Yes.
But there's just, and it feels like in these 50-50 balls, it's a guy falling over. It's a missed assignment. It's a PI. I feel like the secondary and the penalties issue goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I will say I don't think USC. No, I know they don't play a particularly great passing team, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Notre Dame can throw the football.
Yeah.
CJ Carr and those receivers are good, but this is the type of thing you got to get those guys ready because CJ Carr can throw the deep ball. He really can. I think he's the best thrower. I think that he's the best thrower that Notre Dame has had in a little while. And I'm being overreactionary. It's a 1-2 team. Sam Hartman could obviously throw the football, but Riley Leonard was a lot more accustomed to running the ball, and Drew Pine is Drew Pine. So I think CJ Carr is easily one of the best pure throwers that Notre Dame has had in quite some time. Then you stack it up with the receivers they have. It's easily the most talented receiver core Marcus Freeman has ever had at Notre Dame, or as the head coach, I should say. So now you got to get ready for that.
And the run game too, that, has, Yeah. So, I mean, we can talk about every team, but I feel like Notre Dame has the best, and I agree with you. I think a passing, not quarterback standpoint, but passing standpoint, I think Notre Dame has the best on USC schedule left. I don't think that's close. Like, I think Raiola, good quarterback. I don't see him in the same level.
Oregon.
Dante Moore's good, but it's like we're still waiting for them to play a real team.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah, Penn State.
Bryce Underwood, is good for a freshman, but he's
a running team.
Yeah. They're always going to be a running team. We can go on even further, trying to think who's left on the schedule. But, the point is USC will be lucky in the sense that their D-line is going to be able to feast against some of these teams. And I kind of want to talk about Illinois a little bit now, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Because Altmaier was sacked 7 times against Indiana. He's been sacked 16 times through 4 games. USC has 16 sacks. I mean, the numbers add up there. The point I'm trying to make is if you get to Luke Altmaier, you're winning this football game, hands down. If you can get to him consistently, force, a long sequence on, force a 2nd and long, 3rd and long, get to him quickly, make him throw it deep, make them use the run game because, if you sort of get to Altmaier quick and they have to reserve to handing it off, I'm going to be honest, Illinois' run game sucks. So, that Fagan does not look that good. He looked good for first couple of weeks when they were playing nobody, but their run game sucks. They have, a really bad running group. And so I'm really excited to see where this front 7 for USC slots in. The secondary will still be tested. They have some really good weapons. Illinois does, but it's not a team that I'm all that scared of. I am scared of, and you and I talked about this a couple hours ago when we saw each other, but there's some intangibles at play that will be hard for USC.
Yeah, and I'll bring those up because it's the things if this was a neutral site game, I'd say USC probably easily takes this. If it's a neutral site regular time game, I think USC takes it. It is the things that USC cannot control, which is the only reason I am hesitating to say USC will definitely win this game. Because a 9 a.m. kick, whether you like it or not, that is going to affect them. If I am Lincoln Riley, I would be there now. I would have taken the team today to be in Illinois. Really adjust to that time.
I mean,
because that is really a factor.
It's 2 hours. I get what you're saying, but
it very much factors in.
No, it does. It does. I mean, I wonder. You're right. I mean, I wonder what the difference will be between the early start versus the last game with the really late start, and not just the late start, but sitting around and waiting around in the locker room for hours. I don't know, because it's 11 a.m. there. So, and I know that's 9 a.m. in LA, but at the same time, they'll have a little bit of time to adjust to it, maybe a full 24 hours. I'd assume.
It doesn't feel like enough. I think once again, whether you believe it or not, this is a big game. This is a very big game.
Huge.
No matter how bad Illinois looked last week, this is a very big game. I would personally have given them at least 45. Now, of course, I'm not a football coach and never will be, but I think it's such a factor because I look at Utah, the 10 a.m. local kick. That team was slow. They look sluggish. Texas Tech, 12 o'clock, sure, it took them a little while, but it's a 12 o'clock kick for them. They very much looked a lot better than Utah.
True. But Texas Tech is a legit team. They didn't lose by 50 points the week before. And to that point, Illinois is going to be desperate as hell. Yes. I mean, if they lose this game, their season's over. Hands down. They're going to be unranked if they lose this game by a lot. And there's no coming back from that. I don't know who they have left on their schedule, but I can't imagine there's that many more games. What's that?
Do you want me to tell you it?
Sure.
So they have at Purdue next week. Actually, it's fine. It's not bad at all. I thought it was one game I was thinking of. At Purdue next week, another 9 a.m. kick. Well, I guess it's 12 there. Versus Ohio State, at Washington, versus Rutgers, versus Maryland, at Wisconsin, versus Northwestern.
Okay.
Realistically, they'll win the last 4.
I heard enough though. Like they could beat Ohio State. And
versus Ohio State and at Washington, though, those are hard.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is if they lose this game against USC, they could beat Ohio State and it probably won't matter. Like it's seriously like it's
they lose to USC and lost by 53 to Indiana. They're not beating Ohio State.
I know, but I'm saying even if they did, like it's over. Yeah. It's over. That's my point. Whereas for USC, they could lose this game, and I know you might disagree on this, and they'd still be okay.
No, I don't disagree. I don't fully disagree because they can lose this. It's not the season isn't over if they lose this game. That is
you and I came on this podcast a couple weeks ago, and we both flat out said USC is not beating Illinois. Like, and that was sort of the assumption.
Yeah, and a lot has happened since then.
Exactly.
A lot is this Illinois team. The offensive line can't stop anything. The offensive line couldn't stop me if I was a pass rusher. And when you have guys like Anthony Lucas, Jakeem Stewart, all getting after the quarterback, the run game, it is a lot more difficult.
We also didn't even talk about Xavier Scott potentially out for the season.
Right, of course.
He's a guy that probably would have guarded Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's guarding Mekhi Lemon now. They're going to have a big meal on their plate to have to consume. But, it's one of those things where if Jacoby Lane comes back, USC, I think, is going to overwhelm their secondary. Their secondary looked bad against Indiana.
The offense very much could boat race them. They could – we could very much blink and USC's up 42-17. I 100 like in the mid-third because the offense looks nearly perfect for USC side. Definitely not Illinois. And the defense for Illinois definitely is not that good. Obviously, in Bloomington is kind of a difficult situation. Kurt Cignetti has built that program out. They are still, in my opinion, not 53 points worse than Indiana.
No, I don't know what the spread was, but I can't imagine it was.
No, I know it. It was Indiana minus 6.5. Same spread USC's coming
out.
I know.
I mean, maybe Fernando Mendoza is just better than we thought. I don't know. I mean,
Indiana broke their spirit is part of it. And yeah, Mendoza was good. He was 267, 21 for 23 and 5 touchdowns. He was great.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking like a Heisman favorite. And I mean,
but they also ran for 312 yards.
Yeah.
So it shows the importance of establishing the run.
Yeah. And I mean, not to go off topic a little bit, but we talked about Mendoza. We've talked about Mayava. I mean, I don't care about the Heisman at all. I think it's silly to worry about that.
What do you mean you don't care about the Heisman? We're Heisman you.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if USC can win the Heisman, if they don't win anything, I don't care.
Where do they even? I mean, if he wins, not even Mayava, if anyone wins the Heisman, where are they going to put it on the peristyle? It's like running out of room.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you have to retire 14 then, which is a good number to retire because you had Sam Darnold too. So it's like it's valid. But my question is, I mean, when I say I don't care about the Heisman, I care that USC has Heisman winners. But I don't, in the grand scheme of the season, if USC wins 3 games and somehow has a Heisman winner, which that would never happen, but let's say it did, I don't care at all. I think the race is irrelevant. I don't think Jaden's thinking about it because I talked to him in practice yesterday and he is very nonchalant about the whole thing, which I think is very valid because that's not what college football is about. With that being said, Fernando Mendoza is being talked about, the running back from Mizzou, Jaden, even Mekhi Lemon to an extent is being talked about it. I'm not saying I'd pick him.
But with all due respect, no one is talking about Mekhi for the Heisman. Blitnikoff, yes, 100%.
Okay, well, I've seen a couple graphics on Twitter, but so people are talking about it by definition. I'm not saying I endorse it.
Are you people, Casey? Is it you posting these graphics?
I am.
Do you want to know Jaden's current odds for the Heisman?
Plus 2,000?
Moved up, plus 1,600.
Okay, pretty good.
Funny enough, Mendoza, plus 650 is the leader.
And John Mateer, obviously, we know what happened with
him. That's pretty. He was almost certainly the leader.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so early to tell, but I think Mayava has a good shot.
It's a great shot.
I think he offers a lot more than Mendoza. I've been watching Mendoza for 3 years. He's a good quarterback. Does he run? No. Does he create extensions of the play? Not really. Does he have a good team at Indiana? Yeah. You know, like, does he have a decent coach? Yeah. Like, he's a very system quarterback to me, Fernando Mendoza.
Yes, I agree with all of that. Let's get back on track.
Yeah.
Because you brought up a good point, how he does have a good team of Indiana around them. You cannot convince me the receivers, though, are better at Indiana than they are at USC.
Yeah, I know.
That is why USC, I think, is going to, if they win this game, maybe they'll win in a close one. Dare I say it's more likely they win by 2 touchdowns than they win by 3.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's either a 1-score game or a blowout, and there's no in between.
And I don't think Illinois blows out USC. I don't think. You know the line, right?
6.5, right?
Yeah. How much has it changed? I think it may have opened at 6.5.
I think it has.
It hasn't changed at all, which is interesting to me.
Yeah. And the money line, I think USC is minus 210 last I checked.
You look.
Plus 210.
I don't know. Vegas always knows. So Vegas very much knows. Let's see. Yeah, USC is minus 250.
Wow. Okay. Maybe it changed.
Yeah. And how about this? The over-under is 60.5 points.
Wow. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, I think
like 42-14, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, those a similar amount of points as last game. And that I think the line was around 60 last game. With that being said, though, do you want to go over some of the touchdowns USC gave up last game? I mean, obviously, I know we
you have to give me a sec to pull them up.
Yeah, I mean, while you do that, I think, like, full disclosure, we're very happy and confident. And not to speak for both of us, but correct me if you're wrong. But I do think the secondary, if it's struggling against receivers and Michigan State has good receivers, but, like, against Purdue, like, I know, like, they had 3 interceptions, but there were some plays where it's like, you can't let Nitro Tuggle beat you. You know, it's like Purdue has no receivers.
Yeah. So, here, I'll share my screen here because there's just the first touchdown, and we're going to go through the whole thing, and then I'll show the replay. Because the first touchdown for Michigan State was a wide open one. It was – do you remember it?
Yeah.
We're about to show it right here. I got it right here. Look. So, let it go through. But basically –
we don't see your screen, sir.
You don't see my screen? Oh, I forgot to share it. Hold on.
Okay.
Forgot to hit it there. Bang. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Perfect time. So Childs rolls out, and it's an easy throw because the receiver is wide open and touchdown. So let's go through the replay over here because watch this right here. I'm trying to identify everyone, but I believe that's Nick Marsh pulls the safety off, and there is just nobody over there.
Kamari's fault?
No, I don't think so. It's hard to tell. I was looking for better angles of this replay. That's the problem with this one. You can't see any other part of the field, so we can back this thing up. And because watch, there's just nobody over here. And I think Nick Marsh is enough of a threat where he pulls everyone off.
It might be Eric Gentry's fault because he blitzed late. Like he look at this. 18 in the middle.
Yep.
He was probably supposed to be covering the flat. Like, he blitzes really late.
No, he's a spy. It's probably a spy.
Okay, well, then maybe it's not his fault. But
no, I don't think it's his fault. I think it's more likely that he was a spy.
I guess he knew that Childs was probably
I don't know. There's no good angles. Anthony Lucas. It's funny here. I'm going to stop sharing because it's funny who they sometimes have because they drop a lot of defensive linemen in coverage sometimes. Like, that was Anthony Lucas dropping into the flats right there, which is a little funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of respect it because it, like, gives them a little bit more versatility.
I guess.
I mean, it is weird though. I don't know. I mean, also, you don't have to pull this one up if you don't want to because it's pretty obvious, I feel like. But the DJ Harvey one.
Yeah, I'll find it just because it's just DJ Harvey just gets turned around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that on that play, it might be Marcellus Williams. He's the one in the area there, but I'm honestly not.
The touchdown?
The one you just showed. I was just trying to think about it retrospectively. Yeah, I mean, you got to give respect to Michigan State on that play because they were
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with that. I mean, there's no one in that part of the field, but I don't think they were planning for that. It was a good job of seeing where Nick Marsh is dragging the safety and safety in the corner and good adjustment. So yeah, it's mostly just a receiver.
I just hope, because I feel like Illinois, they're definitely watching tape. Like they probably
I
know.
do also think that, I mean, Illinois has some fine receivers. I think Hudson Clement is pretty good. So is Colin Dixon. But I also don't think any of them are as good as Nick Marsh. And they did a pretty good job on Nick Marsh until that was his last touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a pretty decent job on him. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it. Nick Marsh and
No, wait, that wasn't him. Sorry, that was Amari Kelly. Yeah, Nick Marsh was held to two receptions for 28 yards.
I mean, they hadn't played an elite receiver up until that point.
Yeah. The best receivers they've played are Nick Marsh and Nitro Tuggle.
Yeah, and even Nitro Tuggle's not that good, to be honest.
With all due respect.
Yeah.
Marsh is good, though. I like Marsh a lot. He hasn't had a great year, but I like him a lot.
I mean, Amari Kelly's good as well. Like, it's just that one game, it was a test for him, and they passed the test, but not by a lot. You know, like they were.
If they had kept that last touchdown from Amari Kelly, I actually would have been really satisfied with how they played, because Childs only threw for 225 yards. 75 of them came from that touchdown. Yeah. They were actually able to keep the passing game out pretty decently. So that does give me a bit of hope, maybe confidence in them against Illinois, because I do think Altmaier's better than Childs. But Childs is not a bad quarterback, of course. And then the run game, I mean, most of it was from that one drive. So the defense very much played well, except for, they let Michigan State back in oh my gosh, excuse me. They let Michigan State back into that game, of a game that shouldn't have been a one score in the fourth quarter. They, of course, went up by 3, should have ended as a 3-score game. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, there's not a whole lot we can learn from a game like that, just because it's still an opponent you're expected to beat. You're at home, and the offense hasn't showed a blip yet. Mm-hmm. Like, the offense at some, like, Jaden Maiyava is going to throw an interception at some point. It's just going to happen. Like stuff is going to happen. We haven't seen that yet, but we have to be prepared for Wayman Jordan to have a bad game. We have to be prepared for Makai Lemon to get locked up. Like, stuff like that. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to necessarily happen, but we can't really comment a whole lot on the offense. For the defense,
the offense looks great. There's no other way to put it. The offense has looked. This is the best U on campus I've ever seen. The offense. Obviously, I was here 3 years ago, excuse me. Caleb Williams, and that is when Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, Travis Dye. Oof, that offense could move.
Yeah,
this offense does give shades of it in a different way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I watched that team when I wasn't here, and I mean, even like Mario Williams.
Oh yeah.
Those guys were good, and the defense was the issue. And now, I mean, I'm just like, I feel like USC has not really gotten the national respect yet. And I think a game like this could really establish it. Of course, there will be people that will say, if USC wins, like, you just beat a team that lost by 50 points. But in my opinion, if they win this, it is very much a getting over the hump type of win. Yeah.
Because that Purdue game helped, winning a road game outside of a city named Los, but also it's Purdue. So take it with a grain of salt. If they win in Champaign against Illinois, a pretty decent program, and Brett Bielema, a good coach who I like a lot, that's something else.
Yeah, and I think one sort of sentiment that's been going around that I don't know if I necessarily agree with, and maybe I'm taking the lesser popular opinion here. A lot of people said it's bad that Illinois lost by 50 points because they're going to be desperate.
Yeah.
But I also think losing by 50 points I don't think it causes desperation. I think losing by 50 points makes you feel really defeated. Like, I think it's one of those things where a coach can lose the locker room after a 50-point loss, where a quarterback can lose a lot of confidence, especially after being sacked 7 times. If Illinois lost by 1 point or 1 touchdown to Indiana, I'd be worried. Like, I would be a lot more worried than 50 points, where that bogs down a team. Like, fans aren't going to want to necessarily be as into it. Maybe they will, but I
don't know. It's a sold out game.
It is a sold out game, but it probably sold out before they lost by 50.
Yes, it did. So I do agree with you. That being said, I think I agree with parts of you, I should say. That being said, I think losing by 50 was the worst thing that could have happened to USC. Because think about, this is more of a must win than it was. It is, you cannot deny this is more of a must win.
I agree, but they want to win either way. Like, that doesn't change.
Obviously, but it looks a lot worse for USC if they lose this game. Comparatively, if Illinois had lost by a touchdown or two to Illinois, or to Indiana, too many IUs. It would just be like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's not a bad team that you're losing to. If you lose to a team that lost by 53 the week before, that's not a good thing.
I agree, but I also think if they lost, like, I just don't think a team that lost by 53 and couldn't move the ball at all is going to do a whole lot. You know, like, I think it gives confidence. I think confidence is a big part of it. And I think USC going in there, and you talked about the intangibles, I'd be so much more confident playing a team and less nervous playing a team that lost by 50 than lost by 3. And with that being said, like, there is an element of it that I will agree with you that, like, maybe USC loses this game because they underestimate it. They think, oh, they just lost by 50 points. We can easily beat them. And then they lose. But I think also the defeated element for me, like, I watched that Illinois game. I'm sure you caught parts of it as well. I know you were working. They look so defeated. I mean, the head coach, I'm blanking on his name for some reason, in the press conference for Illinois said, I don't even know what to say right now. Like, it's a season breaking loss. Yeah. And I do agree. It's not good for USC. Like, I'm not saying it's a positive thing. I don't think it's the worst possible thing though. I don't agree.
The worst possible thing be then? Because I think this is up there.
I mean, you want me to be honest?
It makes USC's resume look worse too.
The worst possible thing would be Illinois beating Indiana by 50 points. That's obvious, I think, but
yeah, but then if USC beats them, then that's a good team.
There's less pressure on Illinois now. Even though we talked about them having to win more games,
just as much, if not more, you got a rebound after that. They literally got spanked by Kurt Signetti. They got the shit kicked out of them.
I think there's more pressure on them to make the CFP because they basically have to win out at this point. But I think there's less pressure on them because they're not ranked in the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, like you are correct. I still just think they don't have a good win. They beat Duke in a game they ended up winning by like 3 touchdowns. I watched that whole game. It was nowhere near it was so much closer than this box score showed.
Yeah.
It was just Darian Menza forgot which team he played for. So that was most of it. I think that this Illinois team is desperate for a decent win. USC is now right there. They get them at home. I think this is what they need.
I mean, you're not wrong, but like I think about USC last year, right? USC was 2-0. They had a really good win. They lose to Michigan in a heartbreaking fashion on the road. And you think USC is going to rebound from that. They were horrible after that game. You know, like I know it's different. It's apples and oranges to some extent. But I think there's an element of it there where there's no script that says a team is automatically good and hungry after a loss. I do believe that there are teams that just can't rebound. Like, it's just, the loss is so demoralizing that it's just, and I'm not necessarily saying that's going to happen in Illinois, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came out flat.
It feels too early for that. I feel, it feels too, it's week 5. I feel like it's too early to be flat. I think if they lose this game, that is the one they get demoralized. Because then you lost by 50, then you lost at home. And it's their homecoming game too.
I think it is early, but like there's teams like Notre Dame that if they lose one more game, they're out of the CFP pretty much.
Okay, yeah, but also think about Notre Dame last year, who lost to Northern Illinois in week 2 and made the national championship.
Yeah, but that's the only game they lost. Like, one loss versus.
I would say that if without seeing whatever happened the rest of the year, I would say that was the kill shot. That it kills your program, not your program, but kills your season.
Well, I didn't kill Notre Dame, but like I don't worry. See, like, maybe we have a different philosophy on this. I worry more about number of losses than quality of losses. Like, if you go 0-12 against ranked opponents, like if you go 0-12 in a season, all your opponents are ranked versus you go like 6-6 against like G5 opponents. Like, I'm not saying the 0-12 team is better, but maybe they're not that far. Like it's
No, I disagree completely with that.
really like
Yeah, come on. That's like it's basically like saying a mid 2010s Vanderbilt is better than I don't
well, I'm
know.
not saying better. I'm saying like they're comparable. Like if USC played Missouri State every game and they won half of those games versus if they played Notre Dame or Oregon every game and lost all of them. Like I don't think that's that crazy. Like to say that they'd be not that far off in talent.
Weird comparison. I'm not gonna lie.
I like the paradox. I think it's creative.
Okay.
Anyhow, I know we're around the 40-minute mark. If anyone wants to chime in on the conversation, were there any other like topics, Terrence, or just like overarching subjects, closing points you wanted to touch on? I know we talked about pretty much every position group, but
I think that this is a major turning point game for USC. I think that they believe that they are a great team, and I think most fans believe they are a great team. I think if they win this game, I know I talked about how like this Illinois, it looks worse because of Indiana, and it does. I think if they win this game at 9 a.m. Pacific in Illinois, then the national media will start to recognize them. Because I was seeing some tweets during the game yesterday, a couple national media people saying, okay, USC might be pretty good.
yeah.
And I think it'll be, if they win this game, they're like, all right, yeah, USC's good. We got to actually throw this team in that upper echelon of the Big Ten teams.
I have a question for you. If USC wins this game, covers the spread, where are they ranked?
Ooh, great question. Because there are a lot of big games this week. I'm going to pull up the top 25.
I mean, Oregon, Penn State. You got
Oregon, Penn State. There's Alabama, Georgia. I mean, I think Alabama will lose that game. Let's see. TCU. Well, great weekend of college football.
TCU is a game.
Yeah. LSU Ole Miss. That's an interesting one. I honestly don't want to predict it because is possible that so much happens and there is so much movement that I don't even.
That's fair. Let me rephrase.
We're 22 right now. 17. I'll say 17.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen is the thing because you don't know what's going to happen.
Still kind of underrated, but like in the thick of it, like
even the underrated games, even some of the like. Dare I say, Tennessee, Mississippi State is a really interesting game in Yorkville.
I have another question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to know what you think USC's record final, because we've done predictions so many times
of them. Yeah,
we have done a ton, but now it's real. Like, if USC wins this game, what's their final record? If USC loses this game, what's their final record? I know it's a really hard.
If they lose this game, I stand by my 8-4. 100% stand by 8-4 because that means I don't know if they'll beat Nebraska. Even though Nebraska looked only fine against Michigan, definitely not great, but only fine. I still think they lose that game, and I think that means they lose probably to Notre Dame and Oregon. If they win, 10-2, but I will not count out 11-1. I won't count it out. I won't do that because I know I've been negative. I know I have. I will not count out 11-1 if they win in Illinois to a sold-out crowd because that means you're going to go to a Notre Dame team, which even though they haven't won in South Bend in, I want to say, what's it been, 12 years? How long has it been? 2013?
It's been a while.
It's been way too long. Oh, double-digit years. It's a Notre Dame team whose defense sucks. Offense is really good. Not a lot of teams can beat USC in a boat race. Not a lot of teams can beat USC in a shootout. And I think if Notre Dame's getting in a shootout with us, they're in a problem. They have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, what about Oregon? Like
they're going to lose Oregon. I've kind of chalked up Oregon as lost. I think Oregon is one of those teams that can go with them, and they have a better defense than Notre Dame.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm going to answer the question too. I think if they lose this week, I'm going to also say 8-4, maybe 7-5. Because I think last year, like when they lost to Michigan, people were saying, "Oh, they can come back for this." That one loss was so defeating for them. So I honestly think 7-5. They like. I don't want to say it. I don't want to.
Yeah,
say it.
Yeah.
It could happen.
It's on the table. It's so on the table.
If they win, though, like I seriously think 11-1 could be in play. Like I'm going to say that as my ceiling.
It's so frustrating that the range is. It really does range between. And look, anyone denying that 7-5 is not on the table, I fear you're just wrong. It is on the table. It 100% is on the table.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too early to definitively say USC is not winning 7, is not going to lose 5 games.
If you've watched a minute of USC football the last 3 years, you would know that the difference between 7-5 and 12-0 is close.
A minuscule amount. And
Yeah.
it is possible they do that again. And like we've talked about a bunch of times, I don't have the most confidence in Lincoln Riley. The last 2 years, he is really disappointed with the amount of talent his teams have had. So
yeah, no, that's fair. And I feel like I think Lincoln Riley has gotten a lot of, like, I wouldn't say hate necessarily, but he's gotten a lot of like criticism.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a really good job this year. Like, I think he's coached them really well.
it has been better. I will 100% say it has been better.
Yeah, like it just feels like
Except for the penalties.
the penalties, yeah. But the play calling, the decision making, like it just feels like a lot stronger and tighter this year.
It does feel better. And maybe that's because you have an actually mobile quarterback like Mayava than you did with than you had with Miller last year. And there is a lot to be said about that. So
Yeah, I mean, if you think about most, if not all, the QBs that Lincoln has developed into the NFL, most are mobile.
At least decently mobile, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the least mobile is like Baker Mayfield. And that
Yeah.
can still run.
He can still run. Yeah. Anyways, Terrence, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that's going to do it for us here at Coliseum Chronicles Live on the Voice of College Football USC. Leave any comments down below if you guys are watching this later. Sorry we had a different time for the week, but we'll be doing similar timing next week. Hopefully USC gets this win. It truly will be the turning point of the season if USC wins. 9 a.m. Saturday. It's going to be awesome.